do you mean the Halo costume is $20? Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation. Well, it all started 2 years ago. I wonder what's new on the PlayStation Store. Aw, what a cute little game. It's free on PS Plus? I have PS Plus. Well, I guess I could play for a tiny bit. And that moment is what led me to this. Hello everybody, my name is Matt Muhammad and I'm in pain. Physical and mental. Physical because... Mental because Fall Guys isn't what it used to be and is heading down a bad road. But before I get into this, I should probably go back to my room. Is that a Game Boy? What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, Fall Guys. For those who don't know, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is a battle royale platformer created by Mediatonic. Now I will go into more depth, but I want to save that. That's right, today we're going to be doing something different. Instead of talking about the gameplay, pros, cons, plot, and more in different sections, instead today I want to do a retrospective on this silly little bean game, considering what's going on right now with it. I will go into each season of the game, talk about its history, what new rounds they added, the pros and cons, and see how this game went from being the biggest thing in 2020, to the thing that 99% of people don't even care about, to the game getting a second chance at life. In the worst possible way. But before we talk about Season 1, we should talk about Pre-Season 1, the development of the game. Fall Guys was the brainchild of Joe Walsh. He had the idea of a battle royale platformer in the style of shows like It's a Knockout, Takeshi's Castle, and Total Wipeout, the latter example being the worst UK show that is based on one of the best game shows ever made, Wipeout. No, not that one. That one. Anyway, so he pitched this idea to a small company called Mediatonic, and while Mediatonic was worried that the battle royale genre was too oversaturated for another game to do well, they were convinced by Joe and decided to greenlit the project, and Fool's Gauntlet was born. You should change that. And with 30 people on board and Mediatonic's full support, the game went into development. The reason to make the characters bean-shaped was because they didn't want people to be speedrunning the obstacle course like Ninja Warriors, even though people did that anyway. Also because falling is funny. Part of this include ragdolling and having the characters be big physics-based. I fully believe that the physics will not be an issue for this game in the future. After a year of development, it was ready for Mediatonic to show off their little jelly bean game at E3 2019. The team got bigger, they acquired a publisher that can fund the game, which was Devolver Digital, and they got PlayStation on board to make it a PS4 exclusive, with it also coming out on Steam of course. Footage of the game at this time looks very different to how it looks in the final game, which is something you'll notice looking at this game's development history. Whenever it be tales going from looking hologram, to plastic, to more furry, to entire level layouts or themes being changed. For example, DoorDash looks like a Season 5 level, or Block Party, oh my god, this looks stellar, why did they change this? There was also some things that never made it into the final game, like the ability to freely spectate or split-screen local multiplayer. And I'm not even joking when I say this, but every clip of Fall Guys during this time looks way different from each other and I have no idea why. But now it's time to talk about Season 1. Oh yeah! To be honest, I completely forgot about this, but what happened was that before the release of Season 1, Mediatonic hosted private beta testing to test the game before release to find any bugs. This is normal with any game, and Mediatonic still does this to this day with Border Beans. And this was going well until July of 2020, where they announced that they removed the NDA, causing the beta test to go live. This allowed anybody to upload gameplay of the game or stream it, and Twitch streamers took that and ran with it, building a lot of hype for the game. And this is probably the smartest thing that Mediatonic has ever did in their life. To add to this, they also give Twitch streamers beta keys that they can drop in chat, which built even more hype, and what started as a game with little to no advertising or build-up became the biggest game ever, with the servers crashing due to too many players, despite the game not even being released yet. But once the game was released on August 4th, 2020, this happened. Well, we're finally here. Season 1 of Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. A few things have changed since E3 2019. For one, the 100 players were shortened to 60 players, which was for the best. More changes to random rounds like Tiptoe being smaller, Egg Scramble looking less fun, and Hextiles not glowing. The game launched costing $20 for Steam and PS4. PS4 players who had PS Plus got the game for free for its first month, which was Mediatonic's second smartest thing they ever did in their life. And Mediatonic had to give players a free skin as an apology for the servers being so bad. We're off to a great start. Because the game wasn't free to play, the season pass was free, and would stay free for every season. The way how you would level up in the Season Pass is by getting fame, which you would get by playing the game. The better you are, the more fame you'd get, so getting first would get you more fame than getting last place. The game was launched with 24 rounds, split into different categories: 9 race rounds, 3 survivor rounds, 1 hunt round, 6 team rounds, 1 logic round, and 4 final rounds. So the gameplay is relatively pretty simple. You run around as a slow bean, trying not to die and to stay alive long enough to reach a final round, where the last bean standing wins a premium currency called crowns. Crowns let you buy premium cosmetics in the in-game shop, and cannot be bought with real money. There are also kudos that can be earned by playing the game. These can also buy cosmetics, but usually the more valuable cosmetics would cost crowns. And unlike crowns, you can purchase kudos with real money in case you're too bad at the game. The in-game store is relatively pretty simple. 2 rows, one with 3 slots on top, the bottom one has 6 slots, both featuring items that you can purchase with kudos and crowns. And now you know how I called your being slow? Well, you're not completely helpless, because you can have jump, dive, and grab. Jump lets you, well, jump. Dive lets you go a bit faster, with the only con being that you have to spend the next few seconds getting up, though if you combine jumping and diving, you get the best pairing in the world, which can save you from really anything. And finally, grab. This feature that the Fall Guys fandom can't decide whether it's fair or unfair lets you grab other players for a few seconds before letting go, and if the other player grabs you back, then you'll continue to grab each other until one lets go. Grabbing can be used to grief, and it's brutal, it's inhumane, and that's why I love it. One thing you can do is that instead of grabbing a player fully, you can just grab them for a split second, then quickly let go so while they slow down, you keep your momentum. However, all of this would be completely useless without the rounds, and I'm not going to get into all the rounds because there's 24 of them. Instead, I'll just talk about a few that I think are neat. Here we have Dizzy Heights, a standard gauntlet round that's pretty fun. Fun fact, this was the first round I ever got. Why do I remember that? Well, the answer is shut up. Worldly Gigs is a better gauntlet where at the end you have the choice to either be a loser or to show off. Door Dash is the most RNG round, mainly due to the fact that these doors are randomized. And let's just say that if you fall back in the pack, just leave the game, you're not qualifying. Tiptoes around where half the floors are fake, but nobody knows which one is which. So you all just wait around until someone eventually finds the platform, but they'll only do it once you fall off because for some reason nobody moves until you fall off. For survival rounds, we have Jump Club, which is a pretty fun round all things considered. Murdering is so easy, it should be a crime. Rollout is the easiest round that kills more players than it really should. You have these little rolling things that goes around and it's pretty fun. And Block Party, a standard round that I still can't get over went from looking like this to this. One thing I like about it is that if you're good enough, you can get on top of these blocks at the end. I wonder if the creators will use this later. And now folks, let's give it up for the best round in the entire game, Slime Climb. A round where the slime slowly consumes the platform and you must climb up to qualify. This round is generally super fun. You know what isn't fun? Watching people wait until the very last second to qualify. Stupid time wasters. The only logic round in this game is Perfect Match, a simple puzzle game where you must remember what fruit is on the floor, and then go to that platform that has the certain fruit that's listed on the monitors, while the other monitors disappear. Now this round usually eliminates the least amount of players, unless players forget to remember and decide to play Follow the Leader. And to be honest, watching a lot of players die and playing Follow the Leaders only to realize that's wrong is incredible. For the only hunt round this season, we have Tail Tag, a round where only a few people get a tail. If you have one, run. If you don't, go and grab someone and get a tail. If you don't have a tail by the end of the round, you're dead. This round would be better if the desync didn't suck so much. No joke, your tail can be yoinked from across the state because someone else's screen was closer to you. Man, I really hope Mediatonic fixes this eventually. Now onto the team games. Oh god. These rounds are probably considered the worst rounds in the game, said by literally everyone. The main gist of these rounds is that you are put into a random team, and you usually need to get points, and whoever has the least amount of points dies. And when you're put into teams with random people, I bet you can guess why people hate these rounds. Anyway, onto the rounds. First, you have Team Tail Tag, a team version of Tail Tag, and is the only team game with 4 teams. Personally, I like this one more than regular Tail Tag. The bigger map makes it easier to keep your tail, unlike the small map that Tail Tag Original has. Egg Scramble is a round where you need to grab eggs and store them in your team's bucket. After the first few seconds, all the eggs in the middle are taken, so you either need to stay behind and protect your base, or go plundering. One thing you notice is that these 3 team rounds usually have it where 2 teams will gang up on 1 team, and that's kind of not fair. And most of the time it's yellow. Why yellow? Because it's a meme. That's it. Fun! Hoarders is the worst egg scramble with bad ball physics. Hoopsie Daisy is a round where you need to go through hoops to score points for your team. This round is RNG because the hoops can spawn in random locations, and sometimes they'll just spawn in like half the area but not the other half. Screw this round. Rock and Roll is a pretty fun round up until the team corners your ball and so you stop making progress. Fall Ball is a team versus team round, which sucks because you know ball physics are weird. And because of that, yeah, you're never qualifying. And Jinx is the best team round. You wanna know why? Because you have the most control! You see, one person on each team is spawned with this weird pink swirl, and they need to spread it around to the other teams, and whoever is all Jinx loses. I won't compare this to COVID, 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 I won't compare this to... And the reason why you have the most control is that you can have your entire team be Jinx, and all you have to do is just keep dodging until eventually one of your bad teammates gets them. That's why it's more fair, because in rounds like Egg Scramble, you can only help your team so much before they all just gang up on you. And now it's time for the final rounds. Here you have Fall Mountain, a race run where you climb up the mountain and grab a crown to win. And this round could be total RNG if the game hates you. Next up we have Jump Showdown, a final version of Jump Club with the catch that the platforms will eventually fall. This round will either last 2 seconds or 2 years depending on how sweaty the other players are. Or you could always just end it here with a quick grab. Next up you have Hexagon, the best final round. The gist here is that it's TNT run from Minecraft. But it's honestly really fun, because there's so many things you can do to win. You can go all the way down in rows and destroy all the tiles, or you can stay up and try and make the most out of your tiles by going them one by one slowly, or you can go crazy and cut people off. And that's all the final run. Hey, you forgot Royal Fumble! Oh yeah, Royal Fumble is a final where there is one tail. Whoever has the tail at the end wins. This round kinda sucks, not gonna lie, mainly due to the desync and how someone can just yoink your tail at the very last second, even if you hold it for the entire round. And yeah, that's all the rounds I really wanted to mention. While the game is fun, there are a few cons. Besides the desync and bugs, this game can be pretty repetitive. Since all you really do is play the same 24 rounds on repeat, with no variety, you can master all the rounds pretty quickly, and then the rounds just become boring. And another con is all the bugs. Disconnections, crashes, exploits, desync, all kinds of stuff are making people sick of the game. And for whatever reason, Mediatonic decided not to add a reporting feature or an anti-cheat software to the game. An online game. Guess what happened? And on top of that, Among Us happened. While this wasn't the reason that Fall Guys dropped off in popularity, it certainly took attention away from Fall Guys, and before we knew it, the game that had a large player base now only has around 20k. But it was never dead, something I will get into later. Anyway, halfway into August, Fall Guys released its mid-season update. This update included bug fixes and anti-cheat software, easy anti-cheat, man that was really bad foreshadowing, and variations of rounds, which helped the rounds from being repetitive. Now instead of basic perfect match, you can have perfect match with a giant spinner. Why are people so bad at this game? But even then, that could not stop the drop off in players. But looking back 2 years later, this game could have never kept that amount of popularity, considering how high it was. And despite only being 2 months until the next season, people are impatient and went to play Among Us instead, which took an entire year to add only one map, but I guess people could wait for that, I guess. Not only that, but Fall Guys was just lacking in basic features. You didn't have cross progression, so you couldn't take your stuff on PS4 and bring it to PC. Steam players couldn't use custom usernames, instead they had a simple Fall Guy 1234 name. And PlayStation players and PC players had separated lobbies, so you couldn't play with a PlayStation player if you were on PC. However, there was some value to the game, mainly in crowns. You win, you get a crown, which can buy you costumes, which I think is a great reward and kept people like me coming back to the game even after maxing out the 40p season pass, as well as mastering all the rounds. It keeps you invested even if the game can get repetitive. I hope Mediatonic never changes this. Looking back at Season 1 feels weird. The game looks so primitive with how empty it is, and how little stuff there is compared to what it has now. Like, these things look like they're from completely different games. But the game was still fun, and with Season 2 coming around the corner, I can't wait to see what Fall Guys has to offer next. Season 2 was teased really early in production, probably as a response to the drop-off of players. And hey look, they showed us all the rounds. Season 2 came out on August 8th, 2020, supporting a medieval theme with the nickname Medieval Knockout, and with 4 rounds. Yes, only 4 new rounds. This ain't helping that drop off, but who knows, maybe they're aiming for quality over quantity. Let's see. Night Fever is a harder Goblin round, but it isn't too bad, I like it a lot. This round requires you to be patient, and the average Fall Guy player isn't, so it's pretty fun. Egg Siege is a version of Egg Scramble that is better because of how bigger it is, but that doesn't stop the fact that it is a team game and the same problems in Egg Scramble apply here. Hoopsie Legends is a solo version of Hoopsie Daisy, which proves to me that these rounds work way better solo than as a team game. And finally, Wall Guys, a round where you need to push blocks so you can get over the increasingly high walls. This round requires teamwork, which you already know isn't going to happen because this is Fall Guys, so you always have that one player who just does all the hard work, while everyone else leeches off of him and they probably don't even qualify anyway. And yeah, that's really it. There was a few changes to past rounds, however. Slime Climb got a complete overhaul on its color. For some reason they just changed the color palette for some reason. And Hexagon and Tiptoe had actual textures put on their tiles, instead of just being flat colors. And that's it. Now for everything around the rounds, the game added nicknames and nameplates. These little things you can buy in the in-game shop, which are cute I guess, but I don't really see a use for them, since most of the time you won't see them unless you're spectating someone. Another change that they added was a show selector, where every few days these shows would come in and out, and they would feature certain rounds. For example, Gauntlet Showdown, a show with only race rounds. Slime Survivors, a show with only survivor rounds, and you get the gist. And while this does help with the game from feeling repetitive, those shows can also get repetitive on their own, but them being swapped out every few days helps with that. We also got a new season pass, with 40 more rewards, once again absolutely free, and a bunch of new costumes that are medieval themed, and that's it. According to Joe, the season was more of an expansion to Season 1, and not a real new season, which you can tell by how little it adds. In November, we got another mid-season update, which added variations and a new round. Big fans. This round has you going from fan to fan, making your way to the finish, and for some reason nobody can qualify from this round and I don't know why. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This update didn't help with Fall Guys' popularity falling down, and the lack of a version on Nintendo Switch and Xbox One wasn't really helping with that. Now, in my opinion, I thought this season had a lot of potential for creative rounds, but only 5 of them, man, and one of them was a reskin. If the season had more rounds, they would have been way better, I'm guaranteeing you that. Let's hope things pick up in Season 3. Season 3 was announced at the Game Awards 2020. I guess Mediatonic was really trying to get the public back into their game. Let's see what the live chat says. Yeah, I can't avoid this much longer. Because of how the internet is, people started labeling Fall Guys as a dead game, due to its popularity growing smaller and smaller each day. And it was hard to avoid. On Twitter, dead game. On YouTube, dead game. On anything, dead game. And let me lay the record straight. Fall Guys was never a dead game. Its player base was lower than what it was in Season 1, yes, that is true, but it was not dead. A dead game is a game with less than 1,000 players. Man, 20,000 players sure is dead. Plus, a dead game is a game that doesn't get updates or supports from the devs anymore. And Fall Guys, believe it or not, is still getting support. Who would have thought? You want to hear about real dead games? Well then, Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville, Battleborn, Halo Wars, Friday the 13th, The Game, and much more. These games either no longer get support from the developers, or they just flat out no longer work online. Or if they do, then nobody is playing them. But now let's just call Team Fortress 2 a dead game for the 10th year in a row. Anyway, long tangent aside, let's continue to look at this funny bean game. Season 3 was released on December 15, 2020, with 6 new rounds. Now we are talking! The theme for this round was Winter, with the nickname Winter Knockout, and this is pretty great. And to be honest, I feel like this is probably the best season in the entire game, but I should probably show you the rounds first so you can see why. Tundra Run is a pretty fun race round where you need to make it past obstacles and reach the finish line. I really like these types of gauntlet rounds in these seasons, because they show off all the gimmicks for this new season. Stuff like snow, snowballs, ice, punchers, flippers, all that stuff. Skate Fall is a round where you need to get 15 points by going through these hoops that are connected into a rotating reel. Now you could play this normally and go through the hoops. Or, you can go ahead and bypass all the circles and go to the end of the area, because the end of that area has a golden hoop, and if you go through it 3 times, you get all 15 points. Pretty simple if you ask me. Freezy Peak is another great race round that was apparently designed to be a final round, and to be honest, I could definitely see that with how it's designed. But I am so glad that it's not a final round. This would have been horrible. Penguin Pursuit is a team game that introduced the best character in this entire game, Bert! By grabbing this little guy, your team earns points, and whoever has the least amount of points dies. The gimmick with Bert is that he will run around when he's not grabbed, so you need to chase after him, and he's so adorable. I really love Bert so much, because I mean, like, look at him. He's Bert. He's so adorable, and it's just so cool. I love him so much. He's so cool that he's made his way into other rounds. That's right, in some rounds you can find Bert just running along, and you can grab him and take him to the finish line. You get no reward for doing so, but I mean, come on. The reward is Bert himself, and the knowledge that you took him to the finish line all by yourself. Also, if someone tries taking him away from you, do not be afraid to do some murdering. There is also Snowy Scrap, a round similar to Rock and Roll, but instead of taking it to the finish line, you just need to push your snowball on these pieces of snow to grow to max height. And this round is actually really fun, except for when the other team's gang up on you and corner you. And for the first time, we have 2 new finals. Rollout is an interesting choice. I find it kind of weird how they took a rollout and decided to make it into a final, but to be honest, this is actually my favorite final. You can memorize the pattern of the 2 rows, and it's really useful when it gets going faster, and once you master it, it's so fun. Like, you just turn your mind off and you're just in the zone. And finally, we have Thin Ice, a round where you step on these tiles and they start to crack. Once you touch them 3 times, they break, and there are 3 rows. And this final is also pretty fun. Since the ice is slippery, it is possible to do some murdering, hee, or to try and save your tiles as much as you can. Like Hexagon, this offers a lot of strategy, which I really enjoy. We also got a new season pass and new costumes, which are always fun to get. We also got the newly added crown ring. This little doodad will count all the crowns you have ever gotten, either rewarded through playing the game and you actually winning, or crowns that you get through the season pass, because they also have those in there for some reason. It will also reward you with stuff if you hit a certain amount in each tier, and it could be for anything from a costume to a nickname. Ah, heck yeah, tier 27, time to get myself a nickname. Let's go, 1,000 crowns! I honestly really like this feature. Not only does it count all the crowns you ever got, but it also rewards you for winning and gives you a reason to keep playing even after maxing out the season pass. For Steam players, they also got their names changed from Fall Guys insert 4 numbers here to a randomly generated name. It was just 3 words, just randomly. Improvement? Maybe? Around February, we got our mid-season update, which included variations, a fall feed, which gave us news about upcoming rounds and stuff, as well as a new round, Snowball Survival, a round that I have completely not mastered. It has 3 versions, easy, normal, and hard. You're in a bowl with some thin ice tiles, and 2 snowballs that go back and forth knocking you everywhere, and you try not to die. But for some reason, people just decide to go on the thin ice tiles and destroy them for literally no reason. This round is fine. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I really like this season. It feels like a proper season with a good theme, good rounds, good music. Even the team games, which usually suck, are fun. And it blessed us with Bert. How could this season not be the best when it has Bert? Hopefully Mediatonic will go on to do this for as long as they can. On March 2nd, 2021, Epic Games bought Tonic Games Group, the parent company of Mediatonic. While Mediatonic promised that the game won't be changing or going free to play, come on. Come on! This is Epic Games we're talking about. You saw what they did to Rocket League. And I don't know why Mediatonic even decided to be bought by them. Was it money? Was it because they thought that Epic would be a good company to join? Was it? Nah, it was the money. It was the money. There's no other reason. I'm honestly quite afraid to see what Epic Games is going to do to this game now that they own it. Anywho, Season 3 took 3 months to end compared to Season 1 and 2, which was 2 months, which isn't too bad, but let's look on the bright side here. Mediatonic announced that Fall Guys would be coming to Nintendo Switch and Xbox One in 2021. That's good, right? So I guess it's time to go to... Season 4 was announced on Twitter on February 23rd, 2021. Dang, we went from announcing new seasons at the Game Awards to announcing them on Twitter. Simply amazing. We later got a cinematic trailer, and can I just say how much I love these things? I haven't mentioned them yet, but I just love these cinematic trailers that Mediatonic does for each season. They're just so amazing, and they have so much personality into them, and it just shows you the world of Fall Guys. I love them so much. I just wish there was like a movie or a TV show for them. This season was announced to be future-themed with a hint of 80s nostalgia. Season 4 came out on March 22nd, 2021, with the nickname Fall Guys 4041. Before we get into any of the rounds, let's see what they added. First things first, the beginning loading screen was changed. Epic really wants us to know that they own this game now. We also got introduced to daily challenges. 3 challenges every day that was super easy, but rewarded you with a little extra fame for the Season Pass, which got upgraded from 40 tiers to 50 tiers. But what would happen when you maxed out the Season Pass? Well, then the daily challenges would switch from fame to crown shards. What are crown shards? Well, they're a new currency. Collecting 60 of these will reward you with 1 crown. How does this turn into this? I don't know, don't ask me. But there's gotta be another reason for shards. Well, there is, with the newly added squad show. Season 5 later added duos and trio shows. These shows would group everyone into teams of 4, 3, or 2, depending on which show you played, squads, trios, or duos. You can group up with friends or be a complete psychopath and go into this game alone, which will just give you random teammates who usually suck at this game. So yeah, friends it is. This show plays differently from solo. You see, you have a point system, and your team needs to get enough points in order to qualify. The sooner you qualify, the more points you get, and then the higher ranking you get. Whichever team is around the lower of the ranking, so like, for instance, 8th place or lower, they are eliminated, and that's how it works. If you win, you are rewarded with shards instead of crowns, and honestly, I can see why. If you're in a team, it would seem weird that everyone is given a crown, especially if they were to have done nothing that entire game and just got carried. So having shards works pretty well, and not makes it too OP. And depending on which team show you play, you will get different amounts of shards. Squads gives you 20 for winning, trios 25, and duos gives you 30. So you see, the less teammates you get, the more shards you get. And honestly, I'm not a fan of these modes. I just find it really dumb that you can get first place, but then you can still die because your team pulling you down. And if you have the unfortunate of one of your teammates leaving early or disconnecting, well, now you have 3 teammates. Oops! Duos is a bit better, but still, you only have 50% control over your entire game. And I would show you trios, but Mediatonic hasn't put that show out in forever. RIP trios, you will be missed. Another problem is how if your entire team dies in a survivor round mid-game, it will not let you leave and collect rewards, or else you will lose your rewards since quote-unquote your team is still in concession. Now this kinda makes sense, since if you die but the rest of your team is still alive, yeah, take away your rewards if you leave mid-game, you're just being evil at that point. As well as if your team dies but you still have enough points to make it to the next round. Like, it makes sense. But then you have the final rounds where if your entire team dies, you're still not allowed to leave until the round ends. If you leave, you lose all your points. Which is weird because, like, you can't respawn. There's no another round after a final. It's a final! It has been 1.5 years and this still hasn't gotten fixed. Thanks, Mediatonic. But enough about squads, let's get into actual rounds. Here we have Skyline Stumble, a pretty fine round with a rolly-gig type thing at the end, where there is an easy and a hard path to the end, with the hard one getting you there faster but at the cost of RNG. Short Circuit is a round where you need to go around the map twice in order to qualify. This is pretty fun, I do like the zero gravity gimmick. My only problem is that when you get stuck ragdolling at this section, it's just... yeah. Or if you happen to get slow and stuck in the zero gravity section where players just decide to hit high gravity, jerks. Roll on, oh jeez Mediatonic, why do you guys like roll games so much? This round is a race round where you need to get past the roll part in order to qualify. So basically roll out, but they made it middle. I find it super rare this is season 4, cause it doesn't even attempt to even look like the theme. Instead, welcome to season 1. For survivor rounds, we have Hoverboard Heroes, which is a really fun and unique round where you need to stay on the hoverboard while it's moving, and you need to dodge platforms until you reach the end. I really like this round, it's super fun. If only the game would give me this round so I can record it so I can show it here. Internet footage it is, I guess. Also, fun fact, Mediatonic made a show where it was just Hoverboard Heroes called Hoverboard Heroes Time, but they messed it up where the final round of the game wouldn't end after the first person wins. So everyone would just keep on winning the crowns since it wouldn't end, so everyone could qualify and win crown farming. So Mediatonic fixed it within a day, citing how the quote-unquote crown economy was at stake. And now people point at this for whenever Mediatonic takes more than 2 weeks to fix a bug, considering how this all happened during the weekend. The days where the Mediatonic employees were not working. I just find that funny. The other round is Big Shots, where Chris has to avoid all the junk that Spam Team keeps throwing at them while on a big seesaw. Usually what happens is one of 2 things. 1, everyone stays to themselves in this close little circle and nobody dies, or people start griefing, and like maybe a few people die. Or you could be me, where something will randomly come and hit me and only me and I end up dying. Screw this round. And finally, the 2 team games. These are easily the worst ones in this entire game. Basketball is a round where you need to grab basketballs and drop them into the other team's goal. This round sucks. It's just not fun. If others aren't constantly trying to take the ball away from you, then your own brain-dead teammates are trying to take the ball away from you because they want to get the goal. They want to be the one to do it, and nobody wins. But that doesn't even compare to Power Trip. This round sounds simple in concept, maybe even fun. The idea is that you have to grab these batteries to light up the path on the floor. Whichever team has the most tiles light up wins. Kinda reminds me of Splatoon in a way, but here's a problem. The batteries are a grabbable item that can be let go. So now you're in a situation where people from the other team will just steal your batteries or constantly grab you so you never get any tiles. Or you'll have it where someone just will keep following you in a circle, immediately turning your tiles into their tiles. Screw this round, it's the worst round in the game, I hate it. A mid-season came out which finally added PlayStation 4 and Steam cross-play. Finally! Well, better late than never. They also added custom lobbies, a feature that lets you join or host your own server by just picking from the shows in the game. Besides the fact that the show usually has a 40-player minimum order to start around, this is a really good quality of life feature, which can help for streamers or YouTubers if they want to play Fall Guys with their fans. Too bad nobody was playing the game. They also added a reporting feature in this game. How has this game survived for so long without these, like, crucial features? These, like, basic features? How has it taken a year to add basic features? They also screwed up grabbing. Up until this point, grabbing has been pretty good, while ignoring desync issues. Well, screw that, buggy grabs, let's go! Now if you're holding an item and you jump, you will immediately let go of an item if someone is grabbing you. You see the problem here? And it makes basketball and Power Trip even worse! Because now if you jump once, the ball will go flying out of your hand. This sucks! I hope they will fix this later. Please. Maybe? Please? They also released 2 new rounds. The Slime Scraper. Slime Climb's older brother, which is better in every way. Harder, funner, and kills more players than ever. This is so satisfying to watch. And Button Bashers. Yuck. This is a 1v1 round where random buttons will glow, and you need to get there and push it so you get a point, and whoever has enough points goes on to the next round while the other person dies. I didn't even attempt to find this round so I could record gameplay. I hate this round so much. I feel like the RNG is cranked too much here. Sometimes buttons will only glow on one side, and that side is always across from you, and it's just not fun. Ugh. And that's it. I don't like Season 4 that much. Honestly, I don't really know why. I mean, like, yeah, the Slime Scraper was a really good round, but besides that, the other rounds just didn't really grab me as much as Season 3's. And the replay value was kinda dying. That's probably, though, because the season lasted 4 months, so that probably explains it. Maybe the increase of time was so that way they can work on the Switch and Xbox ports and get them out by this year. Yeah, that's probably it. They're gonna be coming out any day now. I will say that Season 4 is when leakers start appearing more frequently. People who crack open the game's code to find upcoming stuff before they're even announced. Mediatonic tried to stop them once by taking down their accounts via DMCA, but Reddit revolted, so Mediatonic kinda just doesn't care anymore. The power of Reddit, folks. One last thing I want to mention is the Board of Beans. Fall Guys has always had beta testers. We looked at the public beta 30 minutes ago for proof. But around the end of Season 3 in their annual season survey, they put up an application for a new type of beta testers. The Board of Beans, or Bobs for short. The public doesn't really know much about them, mostly due to the fact that they signed an NDA, so upcoming stuff doesn't get leaked. All we really know is that they test updates before they come out, and Mediatonic probably listens to their feedback so the updates aren't buggy. Yep, totally true, not a lie. Yep, totally true. Anyway, now it's time to leave 4041 and enter the jungle. Season 5 was announced in a livestream, dubbed Big Streamus. These memes, man, I can't take it anymore. Oliver used to be so funny, what happened? Anyway, the stream revealed the theme of the new season, Jungle, rounds, costumes, and the season pass, all by this woman who looks like she's being held at gunpoint to tell us all this. Season 5, nicknamed Jungle Adventure, came out on July 20th, 2021. The only new change here was the addition of limited time events. These would include new shows where you can do challenges to get rewards, ranging from cadeaux to costumes. And Mediatonic does not know how to balance these properly. So sometimes you get piss-easy challenges like qualify from survival rounds 4 times. 2. Collect 2,000 items that are sprinkled in a round in less than a week. And sometimes you have challenges like play Egg Siege, which sounds simple enough until you notice that for some reason Egg Siege rarely appears in the show. Fun! We also got 6 new rounds. Let's see them. Treetop Tumble is a pretty standard race round, but it's more fun compared to Skyline Stumble in my opinion. I just really like these rounds that show up the gimmicks. I think I said that last season, but I really do mean it here. Lily Leapers takes advantage of these lily pads, where you can bounce on them to go to the level faster. If you dash on them, you go faster, so yeah, speedrun. I really like this round, to be honest. It's fun to speedrun it like a ninja warrior. Wait a second. Bubble Trouble is a hunt round where you need to collect 15 bubbles in order to qualify. These bubbles are limited, however, in one of 4 areas, with only 2 areas getting bubbles at a time, and once all bubbles are taken, a different area gets them. This round is fine, to be honest. Kinda reminds me of Hoopsie Legends. But to be honest, just going around the round and just like going through all the obstacles is pretty fun. I wish this kinda makes me wish there was a playground type mode that lets you just go into the rounds without needing to worry about qualifying. Stomping Ground is a round with a stupid name where your main objective is to survive as 3 angry rhinos will randomly charge at you. So take snowball survival, but make where the snowballs actually follow you. There's 3 of them, and they aren't random. Despite how much rage this round caused, I can't say that I hate it. I mean, how could you hate this round with how many people this round kills? Also, according to the files, this round was originally called Rhino Rampage, and I am forever mad that they changed it to Stomping Grounds, since Rhino Rampage is a way better name. Hey, it seems that Rhino Rampage has a variation. Oh no. Here we have Penguin Pool Party, a solar take on Penguin Pursuit, where we meet Bert's cousin, Sherbert. They are what populate this round. Grabbing them gives you a point. You need 25 points to qualify. That would be good if there wasn't a limited amount of Sherberts. So you usually have people who have never heard of the term sharing constantly grabbing you. But once you get a Sherbert and somehow escape the cluster of beans, it can be pretty relaxing. Just you and Sherbert. My baby. And just like Bert, Sherbert also appears in other rounds. They're so cute, I love all Berts. It is a bit sad how Season 5 rounds are the only rounds where we actually see Sherbert, but I mean, at least you still have Bert in regular rounds. And finally, because for some reason we only get finals on odd number seasons, we have Lost Temple, a round where we have to go through a labyrinth-type maze to reach the crown. But each room is not only different every time, so RNG, but we also have DoorDash doors. So sometimes some doors just don't work. I know I should hate this round considering all the RNG, but to be honest, I really like it. There is a tiny bit of strategy with how some doors will always open and some will never close. Still find it weird how they didn't use the beta door design from E3 2019. It would have fit perfectly, Mediatonic, come on. Not even a few weeks in and we already got our mid-season update. Kinda? Instead of being called a mid-season update, this was instead titled 5 Point Fun. It was basically a mid-season update, but came out really close to Season 5's launch. So we got variations and a new logic round. It's been like 5 seasons since the last time we got one. Some fruit is around where you need to count all the fruit that falls on the floor. After that, you must go to the tiles where the slime rises. The screen shows a number, and whichever fruit had that amount is the real tile. Once again, either everyone will qualify or people will decide not to count. Some things never change. And that's all that really happened. We got a Ratchet and Clank event, a Jungle Book event, a Golden Hot Dog event, 3 times. Oh look, a new update. I hope this is Oh no. Update 5.2 introduced a new Wars UI and tons of bugs. Bugs include Also, according to a few leaks, this update used to be called 5 Point Friend and was supposed to add new rounds to squads. They never did. They also added bots, but they're only for new players and disappear after they play 10 rounds. Oh, phew. Don't worry guys, the port should be out soon. Oh, it looks like they got delayed. It's probably to make sure that the game can run as good as possible on those platforms. Huh. Leakers have apparently found these icons for something called primos. It seems that they can only be purchased with real money. That's weird, but that doesn't mean that the game is going free to play or anything. Huh. It seems that we'll be able to buy tiers in the future season passes. Maybe it's just an optional thing. It couldn't possibly mean... Oh no! So this is what Epic has been doing for the past 9 months. I knew something was wrong with how quiet they were being. Also, apparently Season 7 is not happening. Instead, SS1 is, which is short for Season Symphony 1, or Spectacular Season 1. With stuff like primos, mentions of the Epic Game Store, and paid season passes, there are things that point to Fall Guys going free to play in the future. But it's probably not happening. Please God, let it be nothing. And that was Season 5. We got another update which fixed some of the bugs and also brought our being closer to us, but that was really it. This season was good, but I wouldn't call it anything special. And the theme, while not bad, I like it a lot, was always going to look slightly like a downgrade when the last season looked like this. Besides some events and new costumes, this season felt like it lasted forever. But that was nothing compared to... Season 6 was announced in another stream, Big Streamist 2, The Dabbening. Somebody please euthanize whoever is making these names. Hey look, it's my favorite hostage. What's new with Fall Guys, lady? We basically learned about the theme, Party and Circus, the rounds, and an upcoming new round which will be added later. Ooh, spooky! We also learned that Epic Online Services and Epic Games accounts will be required for Season 6. If you don't have an account, you're just not allowed to play. I feel bad for the people who live in countries that banned Epic Online Services. While this is lame that I now own malware on my laptop, this finally unlocked true cross-progression. Now your wins, cadeaux, crowns, and costumes can be carried over from PlayStation to PC. It only took 1.5 years to do this. This also allowed PC players to finally have proper usernames. No more Rapid Sparkling Athlete. Season 2, nicknamed Party Spectacular, came out on November 30th, 2021, with 5 new rounds. What is this, Season 2? But unlike Season 2, these rounds are actually fun. Party Promenade is probably the longest raid round so far, and is pretty good all things considered. Except for these water balloons. Screw them. Full Tilt is a round similar to Seesaw, except it uses 360 seesaws and faces the exact same problems as regular Seesaw. And it has come to my attention that I didn't talk about Seesaw in Season 1, so I'll talk about it real quick. Basically, you had to bounce on a bunch of seesaws to make it to the end of the level, and literally nobody who plays this round know what a seesaw is, so you get stuff like this. Airtime is a hunt round where you have to stay in this light area while the round is actively trying to push you off. I honestly really like this round, and I wish Mediatonic would make more rounds like it. Leading Light is a round similar to Airtime, except the light moves around, and is really smaller, so you have a cluster of beams trying to get into the light. Once again, pretty fun round. And Pipe Dream, the best round to go backwards in. I got so good at this round that I started speedrunning it backwards, and that's just amazing. Now, I would show you gameplay of that, but Mediatonic has decided to just remove 3 of the Season 6 rounds from the game, because they somehow broke the rounds in a bug fix update. Classic Mediatonic. So I've been relegated to finding clips on the internet. I owe you guys a video clip of me going backwards in Pipe Dream. Don't worry, it will happen eventually, just wait a few months. And that's it. Yeah, 5 is small, but hopefully the mid-season update will come and add variations and new rounds. There was no mid-season update. Honestly, that was probably the biggest flaw of Season 6. The fact you have all these amazing rounds with no variations. And this would be Fall Guys for the next 6 months! 6 months with only 5 rounds with no variations and lackluster events. There was a point where a ripoff got a bigger player base than the game that ripped it off. Stumble Guys. Originally a mobile game, this game was a ripoff to Fall Guys when it first came out, but unlike all the other ripoffs, they immediately changed their in-game models to Among Us crewmates once Fall Guys died. Stumble Guys kinda just kept doing its thing. It even came to a Steam and, like I said before, got a player count bigger than Fall Guys. For this retrospective, I decided to download Stumble Guys on Steam, and the game's kinda bad. The controls are slippery, half the lobby is filled with bots, and it's pay to win? Yes, in the premium battle pass that cost money, there is an action that lets you punch other players, giving a huge advantage if you bought the season pass, since it's only available there. But don't worry guys, remember that secret round they mentioned in the Season 6 stream? Well, now it's here, in its own game mode. Sweet Thieves is a round that is so unique it has its own type, Invisibeans. In this, you have two teams: Guardians, who have to guard these items called sweets, they're just candy, and Thieves, who have to steal items and bring them back to their hole to score points. But the thieves are invisible, ooh! And if you think, wow, that's stupid and overpowered, well, don't worry, because if you even try to jump or walk slightly fast, you'll become visible, so you basically need to walk super slow so nobody can see you. The Guardians are completely helpless, however, because if they grab you, then the thieves will immediately go to jail. The only way to escape is if a thief or a Guardian presses the button at the middle of the map to open the cage for a few seconds. This round is honestly really fun and proves to me that team games can be fun. Mediatonic is just really bad at making them 99% of the time. And while I am mad that Sweet Thieves isn't in main show, it kinda makes sense. Considering how unique this round is, it could definitely be confusing for players who didn't play it before. And considering how rounds are randomized and most likely they will never see it again after getting it once, it'll be even more confusing, so I understand why it's not there. What I don't understand is why Mediatonic hid Morse code in the song. No, this isn't a joke, take a listen. By the way, this code translates to Fall Guys. Somebody had to learn Morse code just to do this. Just wanted you to know. Also, they used to give out 50 shards for winning, but it was so easy to win that Mediatonic pulled out the crown economy excuse to lower it down to 10 shards. Thanks, Mediatonic, very cool. But after that, the show left, and there was nothing. On March 15, 2022, it was announced on April 5th, 2022, the game on PS4 would need to be replaced with a new launcher. These games are the exact same, except the new one is published by Epic Games instead of Devolver Digital, who sold the publishing rights to Fall Guys to Epic Games when they purchased Mediatonic. As an incentive to get people to switch, they offered a free shot costume to PlayStation members that was based on one of these designs from when Fall Guys was still in its early beta, which would only be available until Season 6 ends. Another incentive is how the game wouldn't work anymore. On March 9, 2022, the old launcher shut down, no longer working when you opened it up, and I don't care what anyone says, I am not deleting this off my PlayStation 4. Mediatonic silently gave out another update which removed team games from main show. Let's go! But some people were not happy about this change, mainly because without team games to throw off a balance of skilled players, main show became a sweatfest, and the round started feeling a lot of repetitive, considering the fact that 1/3 of the games are now gone. But you can still get them in squads, which I think is a pretty fair trade-off. They also finally brought in those rounds to squad that were supposed to be added in 5.2, but didn't for some reason. These rounds are mainly hunt rounds like Ski Fall, Loopsy Legends, Bubble Trouble, etc., where you all share a counter to get points and you have to get in a certain amount of points in order to qualify, but the amount you need is usually higher than if you run solo. This is how team games should be, Mediatonic! And then later on they added skill-based matchmaking to main show. Oh god. Okay, let me put that on hold for a second, because it seems like something's happening on the Fall Guys Twitter. A mysterious being named Silent, who was shown at the end of the Season 5 cinematic trailer and made a cameo in the Season 6 trailer, has taken control to send us a message. They need our help in launching a satellite to space to deliver a message to us. So there are 3 new events: Adapt, Logic, and Bravery. These events sucked. They were all reskins of previous events, and all the problems with past events were amplified here. Logic requiring you to get a Logic round? Okay, then stop giving me Bubble Trouble! Adapt required me to get Egg Siege? Okay, anytime now. And Bravery was just Sweet Thieves again, except not only was it harder to get Guardian, but people started using Sweet Thieves as a way to farm crowns by going AFK and doing nothing, hoping that their team will carry them. Anyway, after doing these mediocre events, we saw the satellite get bigger in-game, and no joke, that was actually pretty cool to see, not gonna lie. Kudos to Mediatonic. And it all led up to this, the big announcement. We waited 2 weeks to see it, only for Fortnite out of all things to accidentally leak the entire showcase 20 minutes before the stream happened on YouTube. Let's just watch this already.
You're in luck, because soon Fall Guys will be beaming to you live on even more platforms, including PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and the Epic Games Store. And with cross-play and cross-progression, playing with friends has never been easier. But wait, there's more. Fall Guys is going free
to play. The one thing that I was afraid was going to happen, but we knew it was going to happen all along. With all the leaks and rumors and with Epic buying Fall Guys, it was bound to happen eventually. To be honest, looking back now, I really like Season 6. Despite this season taking 6 months to end, I had a lot of fun with these rounds, especially Sweet Thieves. I would definitely want to replay these rounds the most, but I still consider Season 3 a better season, mainly due to the fact that it did have more rounds in Burt. But all good things must come to an end. You know what time it is. Welcome back to Season 1, or more accurately, Season 1 Free-For-All. That's the official name, alright then. Season 7 was just too complex, I guess. A lot has changed. Fall Guys has dropped the Ultimate Knockout from their name. The Wikipedia page predicted that 6 months before. They also changed the logo, and to be honest, I don't mind that. Also, despite getting rid of the Ultimate Knockout subtitle, they're still keeping up with having subtitles for the seasons. I guess it makes sense considering how without a subtitle, then we would have 2 Season 1s, with no way to tell them apart except by mentioning which year they came out. Anyway, daily challenges have been given more than 3 challenges, as well as the introduction to weekly and marathon challenges. Weekly challenges change every week, marathon doesn't. They seem to reset every season. Daily is also the only one that gives out Caduce. Daily and weekly give out fame unless you max out the season pass, where it's changed to shards. Marathon only gives you shards. Speaking of the season pass, our pass has been extended to 100 tiers, with 50 of them being free and 50 of them costing Showbucks. What are Showbucks? Well, they're what Prime was evolved to. Supporting a better new design, those things are now a premium currency that can only be purchased with real money, or by getting them in the season pass. So now we have 3 currencies. That's a bit weird and maybe a bit too much, but okay. Wait, no, come back! Yep, for absolutely no reason whatsoever, crowns are no longer a currency. The crowns that you had before would be converted into Caduce, because converting them into Showbucks would have made too much sense. Well, it's fine, Caduce can still get you some pretty nice stuff. Caduce can only purchase common items. You can no longer purchase full costumes anymore. Those are for idiots with money. Instead, we can only buy single cosmetic items. Now on paper, this sounds pretty amazing. Single cosmetics? That's so cool! If only we could stack them. But no, they're still considered either upper or lower, so you can't wear glasses and a hat at the same time. You need to settle. The shop has also been redesigned. Gone are the 2 rows, now that's just the Fortnite shop. They're not even hiding it. Costumes are now in bundles, where you can purchase the top and bottom separately still, but if you purchase them both at the same time, they will cost less money, because of this really nice discount that totally isn't fake. There can also be bundled with multiple costumes at once, but if you don't at least own 1 costume in that pack, and you really want Imp, sorry man, you have to pay the big buns. Also, the shop doesn't give you a confirmation screen when you click on it, so... A part of me thinks that this isn't a bug, but a feature that Epic did on purpose to make more money. You gotta love how when people sent this to Fall Guys support asking them why their money is gone, they basically said, "No, that's not a bug, you're a liar." Incredible. Don't worry, Legacy players who spent $20, we got something out of this, the Legacy Pack. What's that? It's a pack only for Legacy players, aka people who bought the game before it went free to play. We got 3 costumes, Veggie Dog, Feisty Dwarf, and Regal. 2 of them are reskins. We also got a nickname and a nameplate. All our crowns were converted to Caduce at a rate of 3,000 Caduce per 1 crown. Now we know the real worth of crowns. And the Season 1 Free-For-All Premium Pass for free. Unless you live in Japan. Tough luck, buddy. To be honest, I don't mind the Legacy Pack. Besides crowns being converted to what is basically useless, this Legacy Pack is fine. One thing I would have added would be a Legacy Challenge section in the daily, weekly, marathon challenges part of the game, that rewards Legacy players with at least 100 Showbucks every day. People who purchased Fortnite Save the World had a feature similar to this, where they would get V-Bucks for free that can be used in Fortnite Battle Royale. And I don't understand why Fall Guys can't have this either. And unlike Fortnite, it's not like you can unlock the Legacy challenges after the game went free to play. You only got it if you bought the game before it went free to play. Just an idea. The game also finally came to Nintendo Switch and Xbox 1 year after it was announced. It also came to Epic Games Store and... of course. PlayStation players also got a native PS5 version of the game, instead of just using the PS4 version on PS5. Maybe now it'll actually look a little bit like the PC version. Also, the Switch version runs and looks horrible. No wonder why it got delayed. In fact, I feel like it should have been delayed by 5 more years, considering how it can't even keep a solid 30 FPS at all times. Oh yeah, you can also buy tiers in the Season Pass, because imagine actually getting better at the game and being rewarded with it. Now just pay some money. They also updated the splash screen icons for some Season 1 rounds, and they only look slightly worse. They also added a prompt on how to grab when you get into Fall Mountain or Lost Temple and you need to grab a crown, because I swear to God nobody pays attention to the how to play part of the game. They also added an auto grab feature, which can make the game better and worse. Better since you just need to be going near a wall and know to grab it and not need to like push a button. Worse because if you're trying to climb up something and auto grab triggers, you're stuck in the animation until you get up. You can't get out of it. Glad I can turn both of these off, thank God. I have more to say, but I should probably say this later. Instead, let's get into all the new rounds they added. First up, we have Track Attack, a pretty good round that shows off all the new gimmicks in the theme, Sports/Stadium. My only problem with this round is how short it is, probably due to the new speed gimmick, but overall, not bad. Speed Circuit, Short Circuit's brother, has you going around the map twice using the speed gimmick, and honestly, it's really fun to try and keep your speed. Besides the wacky physics, this round is pretty good, I like it a lot. The Swiveler is a survival round where you need to dodge obstacles and go around a big circle multiple times, as a fan slowly comes to knock you off. This round can take 5 seconds to end, or 50 minutes depending on how good the other players are. It's a fine round, would be cool to see it as a final to be honest. Bounce Party is another entry in the Hoop series. We need to bounce on these things to go and reach for the hoops that are in the sky. Not that bad of a round. My only point is that I don't feel like these bouncers were made to be bounceable, because it takes a long time to really build up height and actually go through a hoop. Can get kind of annoying sometimes. Volley Falls is a 1v1 round and is the worst round in the game. You need to get a ball over to the other side and get enough points as to not die by the end of the timer. I hate this round, it's not fun. The ball physics are horrible and after an update they made it worse. Now they basically go wherever your bean is currently looking at, so you can never hit it right. Not to mention if you hit it more than like 2 times, it just goes down to the ground and you immediately lose a point. Worst round in the entire game, worse than Power Chip, worse than Button Bashers, worse than all those rounds. This one takes the cake. And we have 2 new finals. Blast Balls is a final where you need to use blast balls to knock other players off the platforms as it slowly breaks apart. It's pretty cool. Only problem is how sometimes the blast balls are kind of unpredictable and can hit you in different ways, even if you are far away. Also, sometimes I hold grab and it just doesn't grab them. Also, unlike Jump Showdown, all the platforms will eventually fall, so you can't just continue playing it for 50 years. Hexaring is another final and Hexagon's cousin, where you're on a rotating wheel full of hexagons, and the round used to be good. Until they changed it to now it's super slow and now it's no longer that fun. The round's okay, not as good as Hexagon, would be better if it was slightly faster. And that's it. These rounds are good, but why do we have to sacrifice so much for them? Not to mention no mid-season update again, so no variations for Season 6 or Season 1 free-for-all. To make up for this, we also got a lot more events that are no longer stupid hard, but are just stupid easy. We did also get more variations for specifics to events. This started with Season 6 in the Alloy event, but now it's even more often, like the Halo event that only gives you a helmet. Where's the full costume? Well, it's in the shop and it costs $20! Or the Yeetus Clan show, where it looks like someone had a field day developing this round. Or the Sonic show, which is just a worse Bubble Trouble version that can give you a huge advantage depending on where you spawned. But I don't even think that these events are enough to keep people coming back, especially when there's no variations. Even the rewards were nerfed. You no longer get Cadeaux after rounds. How do you get Cadeaux? Well, you get it through the daily challenges like I said earlier, but only 200 a day. So you need to play the game an entire week, do the challenges to get one single cosmetic. Anyway, back to the rewards. You don't get Cadeaux, only fame. And even that's not forever, since once you max the season pass, you get nothing. Unless you win, you get nothing. The only good thing about getting nothing is that now if you're about to die, you can just leave mid-game. It's better to leave mid-game than just waiting at the elimination screen for like 10 seconds. Also, the amount of fame you've been given has also been nerfed. Winning a round only gets you 100 fame, and that's winning. Losing gives you 70. And while now you only need 666 fame to level up each time instead of before where you used to get higher and higher each season, you basically need to win 6 to 7 times in a row to level up once now. This is grinding at its worst, and I do not see people coming back in the future if it's going to continue like this. A reason why this is because the medals also got nerfed, and I actually did a test a while ago to prove it. As you can see, the difference between getting a gold medal first and getting last place, which is a purple type-ish medal, is by 3 fame. Before that, it was way more. I have no idea why Mediatonic is trying to make winning not important in a game where half its identity is winning to get a crown. Anyway, I guess it's time to also bring up skill-based matchmaking. This is only in solo show. Oh, by the way, they renamed a bunch of shows for no reason. Some renames are fine, like Gauntlet Showdown was renamed to Day at the Races. but others are just bad like the season-specific shows. Classic Knockout, Medieval Mumble, Snow Day Stumble, Future Fumble, Jungle Jumble, Party Time Tumble, Help Me I'm Gonna Have a Stroke-Tide Stumble. Anyway, but skill-based matchmaking has already shown its problems. For one, it's only available in 3 categories. New players or people who suck at the game has the first category, which not only fills the map half with bugs, I mean bots, but also limits the rounds where you only get 19 of the 60 plus rounds. That is less than Season 1, which was 24 rounds. The second one has less bots and more rounds. The third one is horrible. Not only is the hardest to queue into, but it's also the one that's filled the most with sweats, so even qualifying after round 1 is a challenge. I can't be the only one who needs to tell you that putting skill-based matchmaking in a casual family game is a bad idea, and this is bad for both parties. Legacy/experienced players will get sick of continuing to be put in lobbies with 15 golden chickens, so they will stop playing. And new players will get sick of the repetitiveness of playing the same 19 rounds, and the moment they move up into a category, they will get absolutely wrecked by players who are better than them to the point where they will go down a rank back to the same 19 rounds, and so stop playing. This also ruins the matchmaking since in some countries will have it take a long time to queue, because now there's different tiers of skill-based matchmaking. Whose idea even was it to add skill-based matchmaking? Of course. And the bugs are still piling up. Besides the auto-buying bug, we also have stuff like this. And this. And okay, this is just ridiculous. And these prices, man. $8 for a costume, $20 for 3 of them. The seasonal DLC packs that they used to do every season had 3 costumes, and those were $4. And unlike Fortnite, where you can argue that you're paying for high quality models for skins, look at this. Now, I'm not saying that the Fall Guys art style is bad. I honestly quite like it. The problem is that the design is too simple. It's simple on purpose. So by paying $8 for this, it seems like a ripoff. Because it is! This game is not free to play. It's free to pay. So, what's next? Well, the next season has been leaked, and apparently we're going to space in September. We are also getting a level editor at an unknown date, which will be very fun to use. This game has had some high highs and some low lows, but I still love it. Even though I am upset at Epic for ruining another game, I can't argue with the results. 50 million players are playing this game, and those are absolutely incredible numbers. And the fact that people are starting to talk about this game more is great. I just wish they didn't have to resort to free-to-play to make this happen. I have the belief that part of this was due to Epic's advertising campaign for Fall Guys during this time. Besides the Game Awards, Mediatonic hasn't really tried any proper advertising for Fall Guys, which seems to be on purpose. That whole Twitch beta stuff was accidental. But now with Epic, we have ruled advertising stunts, sponsorships, mid-roll ads, they bought a bench, that pre-registration rewards that barely even made it past the second tier and forces you to download the Epic Game Store to even claim those rewards, that was definitely not stated on there at all. And while I won't deny that free-to-play didn't have anything to do with the game getting this popular again, I won't even try to, that's just not true. I do feel like advertising had a tiny bit to play in this. If I had to rank these seasons, my order would go Season 3, Season 6, Season 1, Season 5, Season 2, Season 4, and Season 1 Free-For-All. Where Season 1 Free-For-All had some really fun rounds, I can't help but see all the problems with it, whenever it's skill-based matchmaking, all the bugs, or the greedy monetization. I still believe that Season 3 is the best season of this game, had the best rounds, best music, had Bert, and was the perfect length in my opinion. 3 months is the perfect length. 2 months is too short in my opinion, and 4 months is too much. 6 months that's just Season 6's problem. Though I will say, whatever happens in the future, I'll still play you Fall Guys, no matter how mediocre you get. Happy 2nd birthday, Fall Guys, to many more years to come. Let's hope Epic doesn't shut you down like their other games. Huh, it seems like I still care for this game. Yeah, never mind. Screw this game.